Hey folks, today I want to talk to you guys about identity. Identity, self-concept, the story that we tell others about who we are is really what I want to speak to you guys about today. Self-concept, for people that don't know what self-concept is, it's essentially how we see ourselves and how we fit into the world around us. And then that leads to the story that we tell others about who we are. And what I want to do today, the intention of this video is I want to teach you guys how to thicken that story, or in another way of looking at it, drop that story, right? So thicken the story, meaning like give yourself the infinity of who you are. And in that sense, it's dropping the story. So really, if we're looking at it from an energetic standpoint, we're dropping it. If we're looking at it from an ego standpoint, we're thickening our story. We're allowing ourselves to be more of what we want to be in this life. And from a spiritual sense, we become more and we step into who we want to be in this life by dropping the story of who we are in this life. So one of the things that I experience myself is that I really dislike small talk. I tend to avoid going to events where small talk is going to have to be a part of the conversation, for the simple reason that I don't like going from person to person to person, reciting the same things about how my life is going. Oh, I'm good, my job's great, all that sort of stuff. It just seems so unfulfilling for me. It's not satisfying, it's pretentious, and it keeps people stuck. Keeps people stuck in who they think they are, and it's a form of sharing your mask with somebody, in my opinion. So I always say the story that we tell others about who we are is not really who we are, right? Because you can't tell somebody who you are. You can really only allow people to experience who you are through feeling, right? That's the true essence of who you are, is people feel who you are. They don't hear who you are, they feel who you are. And it's very easy to get caught in our society in the trap of telling people who we are and letting them see who we are, right? Through what we have and through what we say, right? These are thought form identity builders that we build ourselves because we buy into this story of who we are based off of the car we drive, the house we have, the job we have, all of those things, right? And that really isn't the true experience of what it means to be human. The true experience of what it means to be human is actually to allow people to feel you, right? It's an energy, and our soul brings forth that energy. And that really is when we get to connect with other people on a very deep level. And part of that experience is through empathy, right? So empathy is really the ability to be able to share in an experience with somebody else, right? And when we come from a place of ego, it's all about separation. It's about I have this and this is better than that, and it's about comparison and all those things. Whereas the soul experiences empathy to a great deal because it is really about looking at our shared human experiences, the collective shared human experiences of pain, of suffering, of love, of jealousy, of shame, of all of the things that we experience as human beings that we tend to cover up. Right? That's the story of who we actually are. And when we put our ego aside, we really can connect with people in such a deep and meaningful way. And I find for a lot of people, this is one of the hardest things we can do in this life. It really is, because it's so vulnerable and it's so scary to take off your mask and bring forth your truth and allow people to feel you, right? Because what if they don't like what they feel? Then they felt your realness, they felt your truth, right? And we all fear rejection, we all fear not being liked. So we bring forth our mask, we bring forth all of these material things, these stories about we've manufactured about who we are, and it's easier to be rejected from our story than it is from our truth, right? And that's why we do it. We allow shame to to dictate how much we're willing to open up, how much we're willing to share, how much we're willing to connect. And what I've noticed in this is people walk around very unfulfilled, disconnected, because they don't know how to show up in their realness to be able to allow connection, right? So if you don't do it to minimize pain, you're also doing it to minimize connection, right? You can't have one without the other. You can't just choose authentic connect or disconnection from having to experience pain. You're also disconnecting yourself from experiencing authentic joy and connection, right? So part of this idea of letting go of our story is going to be being okay with the rejection that we might experience when we step forward into our truth, right? And one of the, I filmed a video called, how to consciously deal with rejection, and I'm going to reiterate the main points from that video because I think it's really important for people to understand. Rejection is a gift that's been given to you, telling you that somebody cannot vibrate or somebody cannot show up and give you what you desire, right? They're telling you that I can't show up and value you the way that you need to be valued. That's what rejection is. Rejection is not about you. It's about this person recognizing that they aren't going to be able to give you what you need, right? So that's a gift that somebody's offering you because they're saying, I can't show up for you the way that you need. What greater gift is there than that, right? Because why would you want to be and go through an experience with somebody that isn't able to hold space for you, that isn't able to love you, that isn't able to offer you what you need, right? That is a very painful experience, more painful than rejection. So when we experience rejection, we really have to spin it that way. We have to look at it like, why didn't this person want to connect with me? Well, because either you brought up something in them that felt uncomfortable, you mirrored back to them something that felt uncomfortable, there was transference, whatever, or they just recognize that they're not able to meet your needs, right? So that right there is one of the best ways to just release the fear of rejection and allow your soul to connect with people, because people are yearning connection just as much as you're yearning for connection. People are scared of rejection just as much as you're scared of rejection. So I think it's so critical in life to connect with people, because we all realize that we're all in this journey together. We're all part of this collective human experience together, right? And I do a lot of work with people that are experiencing shame, and shame melts away when the story of shame is told, right? Whatever's causing you shame in your life, it feeds on secrecy. It feeds on you keeping it within and making it into this big dark thing that, as soon as you start to tell the story of your shame, it melts away, right? And we do that with other people. We do that through connection, right? And we can only do that when we take our mask off and we show up in our truth. So I invite you, if you've made it this far in the video and you've watched it, I invite you to show up in a way that you haven't yet in life before, and do it in a way that still, you can still find comfort in it, right? But push yourself to the limit of where your learning zone is, I call it, right? Push yourself to that learning zone limit and take that leap, because people are waiting to connect with you. People are waiting to see you, and people are also going to find so much courage in the courage that it took for you to take that leap, that it's going to teach them to find that courage within to take that leap for themselves, right? It's contagious. So whatever that is for you, whatever there is inside of you that feels shame, or you feel scared to bring that forth, that part of you, I really strongly encourage you to do it, because that skill for me has been a game changer. It has really allowed me to step into all that I am, and my life has completely changed since I've learned how to be authentic and congruent with who I am in my heart. And it starts to allow the mind to take a breather, because okay, the mind is all about preservation of self, right? And ego is about preservation of self. So we bring forth all these images, this self-image of who we think the world needs us to show up as. And as soon as we let that go by bringing forth our truth, that starts to calm. and we don't feel this incessant need to have to always be one step up on people, because we're not being fueled from a place of shame now. We're being fueled from a place of love and courage, right? And that just breeds confidence. It's such a beautiful experience. So anyway, I'm done my rant for the day. Hopefully you guys are all having a beautiful day. Sending you lots of love. Bye.